Hi there, this is Dawn and I'm back in my art room. Today it's Tuesday here in Victoria and I've just had a bit of a slow procrastinating morning and just decided to indulge watching a couple of videos before I actually got started on this. And I'm very cross with myself because in watching those videos I realised that the prompt for this part of the project was blooms, not blossom. Oh, and I've written blossom up here already, so I'm going to change it. So that's what I'm going to do first up, and it's crooked, so I think maybe I'll fix that. But what I did do between my last video and this one was stitch down all my backgrounds. I've started to put a few pieces here because I didn't really know, just having a play. But what I did do was finish off the butterfly edging. After I straight stitched it on, I wasn't really happy with how that edge of that butterfly piece of fabric looked, so I did some blanket stitch around because it's the edge of a page and it'll be moving around, but that's what it looks like on the back. It's you know, there's nothing special about the back because it'll be covered, so that's okay. So I have done a few bits and pieces that I'll show you in a second, but before I get started I just wanted to stamp myself another tag so that I could change the wording, and of course that always involves a little bit of a hunt. So I'm just going to have a go at this. I thought I would I did have a drink before I started talking, but my voice is going to go croaky now. It's that time of year, I think. I thought I'd just use the same piece of linen that I used for the butterflies and the other stamping thing, the blossom that I did stamp on there, blooms. Yeah, that one's all right, but I'll try the little one. I've got another one on the other side. These stamps just came from those acrylic stamp things that you can buy. They're not very expensive, but they usually come in a set of things, and I just thought I'd have a go and see which one doesn't seem to want to accept the ink very well. I'll turn this over and see if that's a little bit better. Let's have a go at that one. I'll move it over a little bit because I'm going to need a bit of edging around it to disguise what I did do. Can't believe I did that. Oh yeah. Oh well, I don't know which one I actually like better. I might cut them both out and get rid of that. The other day I had the stamp pad sitting, you know, just somewhere here, and managed to lean on it and had it had it over everything. God, I don't know. All right, so the things that I've done while we wait for that to dry a little bit is just checking you can see what I'm doing. I had used that Tim Holtz stamp, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, my previous video that does say blossom. I'll see if I can edit it. It was quite a detailed stamp that I didn't think that I wanted to stitch over completely, so I've left some of the black. I'll bring it up a little bit so that you can see. I just used mostly DMC threads, although I did have some of those Madeira silk embroidery threads. This one I'm going to leave in the black and white. And then I started stitching a design that I had from a kit, and I quite like these bright colours. So, but I think I'm only going to use sort of half of it. I might come through here and just cut it off. So that's what I'm working on today. So I hope you're all good. We are. We had a busy weekend with family and friends. That was kind of nice. Haven't done that for a while. One of the funny things that did happen when I went... Oh, well, that didn't want to tear very nicely, did it? So maybe it tore the other way okay. It just isn't torn this way very nicely. All right, cutting is what it's going to be, which can sometimes be a challenge. Anyway, what I was going to tell you was when we were went to see my son and his family to start with on Saturday, and the youngest one, the 9-year-old, I'd told you once before about him breaking his arm and having a pin put in it. And Friday was the day that the pin came out, so we thought it was nice to go and have a visit and see how he went. There might have been some levels of trauma attached to it. Just going in under an anaesthetic is scary for anyone, let alone a 9-year-old boy, and he was a bit nervous about that, to say the least. But anyway, he was good on Friday when we saw him. Didn't want to take the bandage off just yet, but that's all right. But it was funny because he was telling me, Nana, you've got 400 subscriptions. You know, some of the professional YouTubers don't have that many. They did make me laugh. They were telling me that he keeps an eye on me. And that's kind of cute. So hello, if you're watching, you know who you are. But I am thrilled that my subscriptions are going up and people are liking what I'm doing. So that's nice as well for me. But he was very impressed. Good. And then we went off to have the night with a friend at their place, stayed the night, and then came home Sunday afternoon. And then I don't know what happened to yesterday. It did a disappearing act. I needed to do a few bits and pieces. I might just have a look and see how that's going to go. Oh yeah, see, it's just because I did it. Am I taking that off and redoing it? Oh no, I think I can cover it. I didn't want to cover the little bit of embroidery. Maybe I can trim it a little bit closer. A few family things that happened that I needed to be a part of yesterday, so that was all right. Oh, one of the exciting things that happened on the weekend, I got a message from my lovely friend Corinne, who I'm sure many of you follow, and her and I had a big discussion before I even got out of bed, I might tell you. I was awake, but I hadn't got up. Her and I had been waiting for an email from Green Door Studios to let us know when our lovely Rachael and Sarah are coming to do a workshop there. And yes, the bookings opened, and in a flash we were booked and ready to go. So that's very exciting. That's in December, and I absolutely cannot wait. I think I've followed Rachael with her videos for, don't even know. It was definitely pre-COVID. I want to go in maybe around 2016, 2017. I actually found her accidentally because at the time I was doing art journals with painting, and I wanted to make a fabric one, and because textiles has always been my first love. Oh, I'm just going to get that in there. I think with a bit of stitch, I might be able to disguise it with something else. Oh, it's going to be tight. Anyway, where was I going with that? And so, yeah, I looked for, and she had a fabric journal that I started following. And then she talked about a few other textile people that I got involved with, and Corinne was certainly one of those people that I found via Rachel. So, yeah, I'm really excited just to meet them, meet both her and Sarah. I hadn't followed much of Sarah. I don't know how much she'd actually put up prior to that, but that's all right. We follow her now. So, yeah, so before lunch, we'd managed to book our seats, book our accommodation, book a car, done it all. And so yesterday, my husband and I decided to extend our time away prior to the course earlier, and we have family that live up on the east coast in New South Wales. So, and we're down in Victoria, we're down the bottom of Victoria, so it's a bit of a hike and we don't get to see them very often. So decided to do a bit of that prior, and then Corinne and Susanna and I will catch up and do our stuff with Sarah and Rachel. So, yeah, very exciting. All right, blooms. Just got to get this in my head. I don't know if you guys procrastinate. Oh, gosh, if I get it wrong, I'll do another one. What am I carrying on about? All right, blooms, not blossom, for goodness sakes. It might not exactly be straight. Oh, in the middle. Hopefully it's straightish. Blooms. Oh, it's okay that it's not exactly centered. It'll be all right. I definitely think that I can make that work. Cool. Good. That's sorted that it. Let's stitch it on now before I jolly well forget about it. How annoying is that? So, yeah. So that's me. That was me for the weekend. My friend on Saturday night, she was like, I want to watch some of your videos. And I was doing my embroidery, my little blossom one. And she was looking up, they're going away overseas, and she was looking up brocants in France. I said to her, oh, Rachel's talked about going to the brocants. I think Rachel's were south and they're going north. So she was doing that, and she said, oh, it's like having you talking to me here in the lounge room, which I was, of course. I was sitting there and the video was going at the same time, so it was funny. But anyway, she was very encouraging, liked what I did too. So, yeah, it was a funny old weekend of people talking about me on YouTube, so my friends and family. So that was kind of nice. Nice to do. It's lovely. It really is lovely. I really appreciate all of you who've joined me here on YouTube and subscribing to me and liking what I do. One of the things that I noticed, one of my videos is a little project that I did that I talked through making a pattern for. It's for a what I call a thread container, but it could be a pouch. And gosh, there was an awful lot of people that had looked at that. Nowhere near the amount of subscribers, but I guess that doesn't matter. I can't believe how many people actually looked at it. Oh, I just managed to cover that bit of writing there. So that prompted me to do another one, because obviously that's what people like to watch, is actually not just doing, oh, you know, while this is lovely to watch as well, when I watch everybody else's, I get excited and want to start stitching straight away. But my next project because I've finished my Botanical Beauties, so I'm in front with that one. It's taken me a few weeks to catch up, but I'm there now. So after this video, I decided that I wanted to make a friend something for her birthday, and thought, oh, that might be a good idea, even though it's something that I've made before and it's not completely my idea of something totally different. It is my, you know, my pattern and how I work through it. So stay tuned. Come back and find me another day. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm really enjoying this project though. It sent me, what I did do yesterday instead of stitching was tidy up in here. Oh my goodness. The other day I was looking for stuff and oh gosh, I made such a mess. And I don't know about you, but I often find that when I finish something, things don't always get put back in exactly the right position. It's like those garment pins. That's what started me yesterday. Looking for garment pins that my intention was to join the pages in a concertina way with the garment pin. No, cannot find them. They've gone. I don't know if they might have fallen off my desk one day because they're in a little plastic bag. Landed in the bin and I've emptied the bin since then. I don't know. I don't know what I did with them. They've always been in exactly the same spot, and I got them out when I was pinning the daffodil bulbs, or the jonquil bulbs that I made on the first page. I'll use one. I've got a packet of them. And it's so annoying. I've tidied up every box and every basket that I've got sitting on my desk with my little bundles for each project. Don't know what I did with them. They'll turn up, 6 months later probably. But right now they're not here. So yes, I'm just going to sit and stitch and talk to you now. I'm not really doing anything new in this video. I certainly won't get the page finished in this video, but I'll come close, so that's good. It's always nice to be somewhat up to date, but I don't get too worried about it if I'm behind, because it's the joy of doing it, really. It's not, I don't want to get pressured into time frames that can become, then, you lose the joy of it. And I don't want to do that because I really do love doing it. So yeah, that's what I'm up to. I just need to get my act into gear for my next project so that I've got it done in time. That'll be good. So yeah, so I've noticed that Christina Creates, or Christina, I'm sorry if I've forgotten, if I haven't got that right. I'll link it here. She's going to Rachael and Sarah as well, so it'll be nice to actually meet all these YouTube people that I watch, and I'm sure you probably watch too. I did notice somebody had commented on Rachel's video about the retreat is going, that I don't know, but that's all right. Meeting all these nice, lovely new friends, and It's really nice to sit and stitch and have the days to sit with like-minded people because, well, some of my friends and family enjoy it. I mean, I have one friend, Willie, who has been overseas as well on a holiday, and she's just back, so we need to plan a catch-up sewing day, but that's always a bit harder when you first come back from a trip. You need to get your life back on some normal plane. So hello to you if you watch this. But yeah, we have chatted, so that's all right. But yeah, it's nice to sit and stitch with a group of people that like doing the same things. It's amazing how much you feed off each other and get excited with each other. Sometimes you don't do a lot of stitching. It's what I found the last time when we went to the retreat in Ballarat, Susanna's retreat in March. Some people are really good at stitching and getting things done. I'm not. I end up talking too much, in case you hadn't noticed. I like a bit of a chat occasionally, even if I'm talking to myself, but I do feel like I'm talking to you, so that's nice as well. But all I did with the background here is got distracted talking about retreats, and then I noticed that I hadn't talked to you about what I did. I just did a straight stitch with this machine thread because I figured sometimes I do a lot more stitching, like a cantha style stitching, so that it creates a textural background. But my intention with this page was to really get in as many blooms as I've got, whether they came pre-done on a doily or I've stitched them myself. As in a collage way, that was always my thought about this page. As soon as the girls told us about it, I thought, oh, that's the way I want to do that. Use up those doilies that I've got. And some of them aren't spring-like colours that I have, so which is why I thought that I would do some of my own embroidery to add to the old ones. In sort of spring-like colours, springy colours. Blooms. Good. First job done. Thank goodness for that. All right. So my next little job that I want to do is to cut out, and I've got a label now that I can keep, so that's good. But I thought I'd just cut these out to add. What I might do is just cut them out this way first. This is a gorgeous piece of linen. It's obviously was starched, but while I washed them, when I brought them home, the starch didn't come out completely, and so it's left the linen with some. It's not stiff, but it's stiffer than some. And so nice to keep the extra bit of linen. I did have 2 of these little tray cloths, so I still do have 2 of them. So that was nice. I just need to stop for a second. Sorry. I could see my phone ringing me with someone that I wasn't expecting and thought, oh, I should answer that. But it was all good. All good. Oh yeah, I thought I'd just keep this going for, in the black and white. It was quite a detailed stamp. This was the same, off the same one, Tim Holtz stamps, and it actually made it quite difficult. Couldn't decide where to embroider on it, to be quite honest. And opted for embroidering where there was no stamp. So in these paler pieces, that's what I've done on this one, and left the grey shading for that reason, as a shading. Thought that was probably going to look all right. It was a bit darker than I might have chosen originally, but I'm quite happy with the look of it, simply because I felt like it was in the vein of something that Edith Holden might have done. And I guess it's not going to matter if I come up and over that label a bit. But this is kind of how I plan things out, you know, fiddle around, get things laid down, pick them up, put them down, take them off, till I'm happy with the look of it. And I didn't think that I was going to go to a lot of other embroidery. Sometimes I do, just to fill in gaps and things, add a few extra stitches, which I've certainly done on other pages, and I may do it. I haven't got to the end yet, so we'll see how we go. I hope you're having fun working on whatever it is that you're doing. If you're doing this project or you're doing something else, I hope you're finding something to give you some joy. I'm leaving a bit of a gap because I just don't know how, if I didn't, whether I really, because some of my embroidery goes to the edges, you know, hiding my stitch on that I'm sewing it down with. So yeah, if you're wondering how much stitching's on the background, you know, on the front, that's what the back looks like. And I did want, I thought it, you know, blossom on a tree. Looks like it's coming down. Might have to go over that butterfly, but I guess that doesn't really matter. I can make it sit in there a little bit. I just thought I'd put this over this side, away from the butterflies that I've got in the stamp there. I didn't think they needed to be up against each other. Oh, yeah, after I did the phone call, I thought, oh gosh, did I click on that button properly? Looks like I did. Looks like you're watching me. Yes, I think the majority of that green background is going to get covered, which was why I wasn't too worried about. I found this bit of daisy. In one of my other videos, I painted this with some acrylic inks, and I like the colour, so I thought that might look quite cute there. I've got this bit of burgundy up here, which I don't really have anywhere else. Oh, there's a weeny bit in there. And it'll, you know, if you blink, if you squint your eyes up, there's a bit there. Oh, I don't know, maybe that's what I need to think about. Oh, yep, I had that little bit of him there. All right, well, I'm going to leave that to sit there for a minute and think about it. I'm going to do a little bit of stitching, which will give me another couple of minutes to have a chat with you about goodness knows what. That pen, in case you haven't seen previous videos, it's a pen that I just got, I think, in our Office Works. It's called Unipin Fine Line. It's a 0.5. It's a Mitsubishi pencil. Sepia is the colour, but it's water and fade proof, and it doesn't bleed on the fabric, which is why I've got it in a very safe spot. I don't want it to go off with the pins somewhere, never to be found again. All right, I'm going to leave that up there, out the way, and keep working. This was a piece of linen that came in the embroidery kit. I think it's called handkerchief linen. It's new. It's not old. But yeah, I quite like embroidering on it, but I didn't want to cut it all off till I knew exactly what I was doing. And the original pattern was in reds and things. If you're only watching this one and not the rest, have a look at it. Oh, that'd be lovely. Leanne's House by Leanne Beasley was the kit that came, and it came with Cosmo threads, which is a stranded cotton, but Cosmo is the brand. This is number 25. It might be hard to read because it's like gold writing on black. If I tilt it there, you can see it in the light. But the colour's quite nice. Spring-like colours, and I wanted to keep it fairly simple. So have just chosen basic split back stitch, a couple of little French knots around here, a bit of satin stitch, which I'm not very good at. But anyway, and I've got it in a hoop. I can't even tell you the last time I used a hoop. It's like a very long time ago. I can get rid of this now out the way and use the board, use my mat rather, stick my needle in. But because the other embroideries that sit alongside it, I'm actually going to move the hoop because I want to get into this part here and probably this flower. And then I thought that I'd cut across here where it's not, the stitching isn't joined, come up through there and only have that much proportionately. I think that's probably enough on that size. So yeah, that's my basic thinking about it. But yeah, I wanted it to, because I'm doing a satin stitch. Let me just think about where this hoop needs to go. Which flower am I going to do? That one over there. Oh, okay. Oh no, this one here, I think. I think that's the one I'm going to do. Now, have I stitched everything in there that I want? I'm coming across here. Yes. So using a hoop, it's not my favourite. It's not my favourite thing to use. I don't know why. I don't seem to have. Don't enjoy it quite as much as having it all screwed up in my hand. But like I said, in order to keep these flowers fairly, not get too much puckering. So I'm using the orange. The orange isn't a Cosmo one. It was a DMC one, 970. It didn't have orange in the kit, so I found that in my own box of stuff that I've got here. Might need to change my glasses. One day I'll give in and get bifocals, but I hate them. I've tried them once before and I hated them with a passion, so I just put up with changing my glasses occasionally. The majority of stuff I can get done with one set, but every now and then I just think, oh, I could do with being able to see that just a little bit better than I can at the minute. And it's a very overcast day today. It's not freezing cold outside, but it's quite overcast. So what I'm doing, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little tiny heart here. This was an iron-on transfer, and it was blue. And the problem that I'm hoping I'm going to not be disappointed about is that it doesn't come off because it's an iron-on. So I hope you don't see too much of the blue once I'm done. I'm not the best satin stitcher, but this is the way I do it. What I do is a small back stitch. It's probably like impossible for you to see that because I can nearly not see it. But you'll see it once I've stitched around it. So I do a little back stitch first, just to keep my stitches somewhat neat. But I don't really mind if they're not perfect. And I just changed up the flowers. This one I thought I'd do something a bit, like I did those two the same and then went, oh, I don't think I want them all the same. Too late. I'm not going to unpick that much. I'll keep it going here. I'll do one of these, and then what I'll do is I'll turn the camera off and come back to you, depending on how long those first couple of bits were with the interruption and all. And then you can see what I've done, but satin stitch and other embroideries take a little bit of time, so it's a bit like watching paint drying, so I'm sure you don't really want to sit and watch me satin stitch something. But I'll do one, and then I've got these little bauble-y things here. Oh, I didn't move that over far enough. So then I'll fix that flower there, and then that bit that's sticking out there, which is a bit like this, I think. That's probably why I don't like a hoop, because I just find it's too restricting for me. But like I said, for this, I think it needed the stability of the hoop. And because I'm a scooper embroiderer, I'm not always a in and out embroiderer. You know, I don't go just in and then, you know, come out again. I scoop it, and that's probably not always the best thing with a hoop. See, it's already come loose a bit here. Maybe I didn't tighten it far enough. But I'm sure there's other beautiful embroiderers, and they are beautiful embroiderers because they use a hoop as well, so that could be why their work is as neat as it is. So my plan is, and I'm doing it upside down because I quite like to work upside down sometimes, and I've talked about this once before, is that doing it upside down or back to front means that, have I gone through the knot? Of course I will have. You can't get the needle through. Stop concentrating on making it a heart and just work on the shape. And I'll often do that with writing. If I'm stitching over writing, I'll stitch from backwards. So from the end of the word going backwards. And I find that it works. I can get a much neater look. So I'm taking the needle just outside that running stitch and going over the other side of that running stitch, but just like as close as you can possibly get it so that you don't see the running stitch. So I'm coming up one side of the heart and then I'll come up the other side. In something this tiny, and I want the stitches really close together, I go over and over rather than go in and then next to it and go back and then next to it and come back, if that makes sense. So I find that, you know, if I try and do that, I end up pulling the stitch out, the previous one, and then that's just too frustrating for me. So it uses a bit more thread because you get basically double what you've done because you're doing as many stitches on the back as you are on the front. You know, it's going over, as you'll see here. You'll get the same, where along here I can go, you know, not try and go repeat it on the other side. Clear as mud. Sorry. I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you're new to this, what I was trying to explain was going in this side and not by coming up next to it again, and not, it'll work this time, you know, not starting back on this other side. You use less thread. Oh yes, of course it's going to work because I told you it didn't before. But by having it on the other side as well, so having sort of the double thread on the top and the bottom, it gets a bit more padded. And for something as little as this, I'm happy to have a go at that too. Cool. So that's one side of the heart done. Just gonna, and that's what I'm saying. I prefer to go backwards, you know, back to the other side to redo it, because sometimes those stitches are tiny. And now go back down to the bottom and do the same thing up the other side. I can find where to put my needle in. Oh, is there a knot or something under there? Yes, that's what I'm trying to go through, I think. That bit of green. It's just making life difficult. But this linen is very fine, and so, oh, gosh, I can't get that through there. Doesn't want to. It just wanted to go where the green was. Yeah, it just doesn't want to, it does not want to go in that little space there. There's some fun. Maybe if I go, I'll just break all the rules. I'm going to go back simply because I've got a gap. And I just didn't want that gap. So what I'm doing is going back here. Hopefully my head's not in the way. Can you see? Yeah. Go back. Yeah, that looks a bit neater. And just, because the green thread was there, and my needle just kept shying off, I think. All right, you've seen what I'm doing here. I'm nearly done. And I'll be back when I've done a little bit more. Okay. Get to the end. I'll be back. I just thought I'd finish off a little bit more stitching with you before I decide how much of this I'm going to cut off. I finished this little bit of satin stitch and the outline of this flower. And the way that I do the outlining is with a split back stitch. The reason I use that is because, sorry, I don't want to see sort of the holes where each stitch meets. And so I'm making sure my needle goes into the previous stitch so that and then come back up again here. Just feel like it gives it a slightly neater finish for this type of work. While I was stitching, I discovered something about myself, and that is that I don't think I'm a very good fine embroiderer. Excuse me. I think I'm probably enjoy it more when I don't have a specific pattern to follow, that I just follow my intuition. It's not anything that I've necessarily planned out. While I think I want to put a few stitches in it in some places, I just want it to be less formal so that I'm not following along with a pattern that I'm restricted to. And I am quite restricted to this pattern simply because it's a pattern that the stencil was ironed on. Oh, my husband's going to put the kettle on. Good on him. I'm sorry about that noise. If you can hear it, yep, I'll keep chatting and hopefully it's not too terrible. But anyway, the restriction about the pattern is that it was an iron-on one, so I can't iron off the lines that I don't want. And they're quite blue, so that was something that I'm having to be really mindful of the stitches. So this flower here has these little stamens coming out of this petal, and while I think it's quite nice, I decided to change it a little on this one, and so I thought I might repeat that idea from here for here. And just going from the middle, the centre out. With this one I didn't, and I had to go over it with a little bit of satin stitch in the middle to cover the space. But you can see under this yellow that blue line, which I just have to get over. Never mind, not to worry. So what I'm doing is just going from the centre all the way to the end. I will come back after I do these stamens and put a little knot on the end of each stitch, but for now I'm just going to keep on doing the straight stitches because that'll be a little bit quicker. And this video in its entirety is going to be quite long, but I thought that you might enjoy looking at how I do embroidery. Like I said, I'm certainly no fine embroiderer. I admire it tremendously. I've had a go at a couple of things that I did in a class and love what I did, but I'm finding for this one that for this project, I'm probably happier doing just whatever takes my fancy at the time. So I will continue. I'm just getting a bit of a bump here. So while I said I was going to do that, I don't think I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to go beside each one because it wasn't what I was expecting to happen. Yep. And I'm still not completely sure where I want to cut it apart. I'm just going to ask my husband to turn the telly down now. Okay, hang on. Okay, hopefully the noise situation is sorted. But I thought I'd take the chance, given that I'd stopped the video, to complete all of those little stamen spokes, and continue doing these little knots. So what I've decided to do is a colonial knot. So holding the thread towards yourself, having this bit of tension here, with the needle face it away and wrap it from left to right, turn the needle and go under and back. So it's like a figure eight. If you want clearer instructions, there's lots of YouTube videos on how to do a colonial knot, but I'm happy to show you again. So from left to right, once you get the sort of swing of it, and then bring it under and back, and then take it just one thread away from where you came out, keeping the tension with this finger, and pull it through. And it makes quite a nice, neat little knot. So I've come up at the end of that straight stitch that I made for the stamen. So again, forward, back, and back through the fabric. If you let go of that tension, you can get a messier knot if you'd like a messier knot. I quite often like a messier knot. As I just said, I'm probably better at doing things without too much precision, and I'm happy to do that without following. I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. It's okay on the back, but no one's ever going to see that, so it doesn't matter. One thing I'll say, if you're using this handkerchief linen and you haven't backed it with anything, which I didn't do, and in hindsight probably would have liked to have, except that I do want it to go on here without too much more bulk. But if you've got a bit of wadding in like Pelham or Parlane underneath, you can get away with carrying the stitches across. But with handkerchief linen, it's quite thin, and you would see those stitches being carried across, and I didn't want that look. All right, so I'm going to take it out of the hoop, and like I said before, I don't think that I want the whole design, so I'm not going to stitch it. It might get done another day and it might not. I found a bit of that darker red that I put in the blossom because I have a feeling I'm going to need to add some down here. I'm not sure about that. What I might do is cut it around where the hoop was, so that if I do have to put it back in the hoop, if I need to do anything more to it, then I can. But now it's a bit of trial and error as to how much of this design I actually want to keep and how much I'm happy to not keep. Good. I'll just pop that over there for the minute. So just keeping check on where I am on screen with you. Don't go beyond there. I stitched this stitch across the bottom of my grey mat so that I had a guide, because I kept going off. So my intention is to cut around it like I've done with that one, so that I have a problem here where to cut it, because these two are quite close together, and I think if I try and cut through that, I'm going to lose it. So I lose that stitch. But I think I still might need to do that, because what I'm doing is looking at where I came down. I wish I'd thought of it before I did this green, because now I'm restricted as to where I'm going to be able to cut it. So I think that one has got to go, because it's just, yeah, I think I think having that in there is probably, I can add a bit of green here if it gets too messy. Get rid of that in there. I might be able to find another doily flower that will look quite good there. I don't know if there's any more bits from the one I cut. That might actually look quite nice in there. That will give me a little bit more red. This is my problem. This colour up here doesn't seem to want to go with anything else. But that flower might look quite alright there. But just right now, I think I'm going to leave it as this video ends, and I will make a third video. Come back and finish it off with you when I know what I'm doing, because I don't at the minute. Good. All right. Thank you for sticking with me if you have. All right. Take care.